So please tell us the history, the past, everything that gave birth to this tree. And before then, we would like to meet you on your own terms, sir.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I'd like to welcome all of you distinguished personalities, and thank you for taking the time to come and spend an evening with us. The story of my life, I think I will say, will not be written. It's so long, so varied, and we will learn from our parents who went to their graves with their secrets. So, well, rightly so. I'll try and keep it brief. Mining has always been on my mind. As a very young chap in boarding primary school, I remember sitting on the sidelines of the football field, which was, because the land was sloping, it had to be cut into the ground to make it level. So that exposed some mica schists. And a friend of mine, between the two of us, rather than play football, we'll go and be digging up the golden flakes and pretending we're mining gold. And so that started at about 8 years old. And then later on, when I went to boarding secondary school, I had a very, very good friend. His name was David Jewson. And he happened to come from a family who were jewelers. And so conversations, one thing led to the other, came on holiday. I had an uncle living in Jos who was a dealer in semi-precious stones. I bought a handful from him, went back to school, got invited to my friend's home for a weekend, had a chat with his father, and the father bought those things for, I don't want to disclose, but 3-4 times what I'd paid for them here in Nigeria. And so that started a way of supplementing my pocket money. And from there, the journey started. So let's speed on to, after several years of various endeavors, trading in various commodities from cocoa beans in the southwest to rubber in the delta and to palm products in the riverine areas, especially around River State, etc. I came to realize that Nigeria is blessed with untold riches and opportunities. I was privileged to have traversed the length and breadth of Nigeria, being involved in all sorts of endeavors. So I like to call myself, excuse me, a serial entrepreneur. I wear several hats, from being an ordinary Nigerian with the freedom to engage in any activity I so wish. And that is one of the fundamental pleasures of being a Nigerian and an entrepreneur. Anyway, I started the mining exploration life quite a few years ago, and through several iterations, several ventures with international partners and local partners, most of them not a success. We kept on persevering, and here we are today. We've ended up with Eso Terra, which is a successor company to many previously abandoned partnerships and companies that had to be wound down for one reason or the other.
Okay, so I listened to you and you said all of this was born from where you were watching football, and it makes me think of an Indian movie, The Slumdog Millionaire, who's this young chap got to win the top prize from his life's experiences. Every question he was asked got him to the top because he had personally experienced it. But then I would want to know, what's your, should I say, the Nigerian mining dream for you? Because you do not want to do this alone. You want to take others along as you walk this road. What would you call your Nigerian mining dream?
The dream is to bring back Nigeria's glory as far as mining is concerned. Some people do not realize that Nigeria really came onto the global map as a result of the discovery of tin and associated products in the Jos Plateau and the Bauchi lowlands, which informed the British to build a railway network going back in the early 20th century. Those networks are still in existence. The first basis for development in Nigeria were based on those earnings. Now, due to internal and external circumstances, the glory days were long gone by the time we came to the fore in the mining industry. In trying to bring several projects to fruition, we learned the hard way that there were numerous fundamental steps that need to be taken before you become a successful mining destination. We have done our best individually, but then given life's experiences and all the various ventures I've been involved in, having been born into a logistics and farming family, and along with our friends, co-workers, mentors, we realized we need to come up with a holistic solution that would uplift the mining sector in Nigeria and put it back onto its rightful position. I can give you two examples. Nigeria over the last 30, 40, 50 years has been a major exporter of semi-precious stones, especially of the tourmaline variety, the beryls. But you never see Nigeria mentioned in any marketplace. Today, Nigeria is a major exporter of tin and columbite and other associated products. But it is not quoted anywhere in the world.
Why is that so?
Those are issues that are not for this forum. But there are things that are being tackled effectively, and it's not only, it's a wide spectrum of reasons why that is. But our focus today is to help bring an enabling environment for players, stakeholders, investors, administrators, regulators, communities, local governments, state governments, and the boss, the federal government, to be able to have platforms, systems, and structures that can assist and enable the mining industry to reach and attain its rightful place in the world of mining.
Okay, thank you so much, our chairman and the Magajin Garin Kano. So I would want to think that there are certain persons who have embarked on this journey and at some point they did quit. Has there been any part of all of this where you thought of quitting? And of course, you're still here, so we know you did not quit. So what's been that thing that has given you that strength and a way of saying, don't quit, or if you're not already in here, come in here?
Well, if you know the story of the miner, your real miner always thinks, the jackpot is 1 meter away. And every day, he will dig that 1 meter, he will not get it, he'll go back home, sleep, beg, borrow, or steal. He will get the wherewithal to come and dig another meter. So, the miner is a special breed of person, or maybe even the exploration entrepreneur. It's not everybody that can take the kind of setbacks, disappointments, and outright losses that you face when you decide to become a miner. The English have a very good way of putting it. You will lose the shirt off your back if you go into mining blindly. So what we are trying to do here is to bring to the fore the bitter, the hard lessons we have learned over the years, and use those lessons to enable and to empower the next generation of miners, the current indeed, and the next generation of miners, be able to have a better chance of success than we had. We were not taught, we didn't have the mentors, we didn't have the structures in place. So based on that, we are now embarking on the last lap of our productive lives in the service of the Nigerian mining industry. So it is no more a journey of I or me. This is a journey for all of humanity. And that is why we're looking at the whole gamut. It's not only about mining, but sustainable mining, what you do while you're mining, and what you leave behind after you leave or when you close the mine.
Thank you so much. I find something particularly very interesting about Eso Terra. It's how your prospects have been named. And for me, it offers some form of insight, say an emotional connection between you and the prospects. I think the Americans have really succeeded at doing that. Instead of calling it their presidential mansion, they just say the White House, their defense headquarters, the Pentagon, and it brings some sort of life to it. For instance, the Rahama lithium prospect and how it's just simply referred to as Rama. I would love to, at this point, invite Ulrich Eichhorn, the founder and group CEO of GeoScan, to help in furthering this conversation. Thank you. For context, in the world today, lithium is in very high demand. I am not an economics, but from my very restricted knowledge of economics, I know that whenever demand outweighs supply, we know that price surely goes up. And we are yet to fully exploit the lithium potentials of Nigeria. It is being predicted that in a few years from now, demand would surge in 10-folds, say some 1,500%. And we are foreseeing a global shortage because of the need it has in the production of EVs and the lithium-ion batteries in our consumable electronics. So you're welcome, Mr. Eichhorn. We want a brief about you, and I would want to hear how your paths crossed and the amazing things you're doing.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks for the kind introduction. I'm similar to you, Nasiru. I grew up in an entrepreneurial family. We have car businesses, and since I was 14, I worked at the petrol station. And I made the vow to myself then that I'm not only going to fuel, wash, lube at the time, etc., even repair cars, but that I'm going to create them, which I did throughout my life, and it was a fantastic journey. And in the last years, the factor that was driving the need for much more lithium is the electric vehicle, EV, market. Before that, lithium was blooming in the shadow. So it was used only for special glasses and for special lubricants, etc. But suddenly it has taken center stage. And our paths crossed when Volkswagen, I started GeoScan together with Oliver Heckberg, who's our CEO and is sitting in the first row here. When he came with the GeoScan project, early form of the GeoScan project, to me in my role as Volkswagen Chief Technology Officer, and offered technology that we need. We did a pilot project and found a lot of lithium in a totally different place that I should not mention here. And I was so convinced that I invested into the company then, and since then we've taken it over. And we've developed the technology. And at one point we met, Nasiru and I met in the office of our now chairman, Andreas Spies, who's on his way here. Unfortunately, his flight was delayed. He would be here already. And that was a match that fitted very well. The entrepreneurial spirits of both. My personal mission in life is innovation, and bringing innovation to bear for the good of the people. Not only to invent things, but to really make them work and deliver. And so we got together, and it's not just lithium. Lithium is always in the center stage and in the focus, but in a way of speaking, it has turned into a symbol for all what we call electro minerals. Because there's also a coming shortage of copper, and Nasiru will come back to that later. there is the rare earths, and I mean really the rare earths that we use for magnets and some other things, not a manner of speaking about everything that is rare. That's not rare earths. Rare earths elements is a special group. And we are specializing in seeking these. The technology that we have developed in GeoScan and its precursors have been used for all sorts of things, including detecting submarines, but that's the other branch of what we're doing. We're not doing that. Some other people detect submarines using a similar technology, to be clear. So we can find all sorts of ground resources from satellite images with an algorithm of our own. And as I'll outline in my speech on the conference tomorrow, there is no production of materials without exploration. You first need to know where they are. And in the Rahama project, we have scanned a very large area, and only about 4% of that are worth exploring to a greater degree. Now, with conventional methods, you would have explored 96% at great cost for nothing, only to find the 4%. And if you're unlucky, you would not have found the 4%, and all your money is gone. And as Nasiru, you have indicated, going blind into mining is a good method of going broke. And we want to avoid that. That's the innovation that we bring to Eso Terra and to Nigeria and maybe to the world at large.
All right, thank you so much. Well, I understand that business thrives better when there is already an existing market than when you produce and then struggle to also build the market. So you said you met with him for the first time in your chairman's office. It means that our chairman here approached the right market because he has a prospect. So please, Mr. Wada, at this point I would want you to take us into a little walk, the background of this prospect.
Well, in 1999, 2000, there was a big boom in tantalite trading, in the sense that all of a sudden, for whatever reason, the Department of Defense decided to give out contracts for the supply of tantalite at 10 times the prevailing rate. So there was a mad scramble all over the world, and that craze came to Nigeria. So we went looking for tantalite deposits, and along the way, I was opportuned to send some samples over to, I think, one of the largest traders of such minerals in the world through my brother who is sitting here. He was living in California at that time. Anyway, we got back the assays from the lab, and it was confirmed that we had found the right material that they were looking for. But amongst the elements in the assay, there was lithium. Now, at that time, I didn't know much about lithium, but I did know lithium batteries for my transistor radio lasted longer than the normal alkaline batteries. And that interest stuck, and I held on to my licenses in that area for 20 years through various evolutions, various successor companies, etc. And then in early 2020, 2021, during the COVID pandemic, the lithium craze came to Nigeria. Everybody was looking for lithium, etc., etc. So I went back to that area and took a second look and secured some positions there. And then I was planning to do some conventional exploration in that region, but a mutual friend introduced me to Ulrich, and the journey started from there. He presented the technology to me. I'll dare to say that I immediately jumped on the wagon, but all the conservative people around me were skeptical. I see the Saad is there raising his hand. So my chief geologist was the first to object, and my finance advisor also objected, on and on and on. And I had to overrule all of them and said, I'm going for this. It's a gut feeling, and if it doesn't work, so be it. But here we are today. I'm glad to say that as a result of that first engagement to just look at a small area, we ended up looking at a much larger area, maybe 20 times bigger. And lo and behold, we found also 20 times more than what we were expecting to find. I think there will be, if not today, I think tomorrow or next, Dr. Eichhorn will be giving a presentation to show exactly what we have found using the GeoScan technology.
Thank you so much. Mr. Ulrich, I want in your own words, but please very quickly, you may wish to raise the level of the microphone. Okay.
Yeah.
In your own words, what does GeoScan offer Eso Terra?
Well, on a very high level, what we do is from satellite images, we detect underground resources down to 10,000 meters depth. It's based on geophysics, on well-known physical effects, which, put very simply, is what's sometimes called the hum of the earth. The core of the earth is creating a wide spectrum of waves, vibrations, whatever you want to call it, who then travel through the whole earth and are modified as they go through the earth's crust. And they are modified by whatever they encounter there. And you can imagine that a wave, seismic or otherwise, as it goes through solid rock, is modified in a different way from what it goes through, say, a bubble of oil or sand or any other material. And these are all well-known effects, refraction, diffraction, etc. The same effects that the well-established seismic or seismology is using, but we are using the Earth's own vibration. Now the twist is that we don't have to have microphones on the ground, because over the long times, geological time frames, sometimes millions of years, these vibrations leave certain telltale structures on the surface of the Earth, which we read from the satellite images, and our algorithms then calculate down what caused them. And we have done all sorts of experiments as far as you can do these. And we have a wide range of variety. We have of experience and projects. We have done much more than 100 projects all over the world. We started with oil and gas, where you can easily imagine the difference between the physical properties of oil, or even more so gas, to the surrounding rock is huge. When we talk about different sorts of rock and rock bearing certain sorts of minerals as opposed to those having other sorts of minerals. That becomes more difficult. So we were honing our technology over time, and so now we can do that. We take, in the most simplest case, we take just the coordinates of the area to explore. From our own database, we take the satellite images, and this is not Google Earth. I mean, these are high quality, far infrared, near infrared, etc. pictures from a variety of satellites. Often we have to buy these or pay, or even pay the satellite operators to take those pictures for us. And then we calculate through our algorithms with a variety of methods and come up with a 3D underground matrix. And we can calculate everything that seismic does. So we can have so-called subsurface maps. We can have sections, so-called 2D sections. We can do simulated drill holes or simulated wells in the case of oil and gas. And that is the majority of what we do. The more we know about the area, the better that works, of course. If we know which sort of rock we're dealing with, that helps. If we know, if we have what we call fingerprints, previous drill results, mining results, etc., that does help. In Nigeria, one thing that we're using is we look for artisanal miners because they know what they're doing, and we take their finds as fingerprints, and then we can calculate down. As I said, we're also using a variety of other methods, the more classical remote sensing methods, but in a special way. And so from just the knowledge of the coordinates and what material we're looking for, which is what we refer to a greenfield site, we can do that, and in both cases that we're talking about today, that was so. We later found some material or some data, some previous research that then helped us to fine-tune and twist and tweak the results that we have to get finer resolution and better results. So the one thing we can do is the green field. If we have a brown field, so where we already know some data that were taken, or best yet some mining, then we can calculate from that very precisely the total amounts, where exactly that is, etc. At the very least, we can focus the further exploration on those typically 3 to 4%, 3-5% that I said. And in a gold project that we have done lately, somewhere entirely different in the world, a gold project, we could reduce the amount of drills that were needed from several hundred down to 12. And everybody who's ever done some drilling knows how long that takes, how difficult it is. Sometimes you cannot get there, and especially how expensive that is. In this particular case, 3 companies successively had gone bankrupt drilling and not finding the right thing or running out of money. And we could find 87% more gold in that area than they had identified with the drill projects before. And they had been drilling for more than 20 years, and we did that whole work in 4 months.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so Mr. Wada, like in oil and gas, there is a partnership called the profit sharing, where you have to go do all of the exploration. If you find, you exploit, and you share profits with NNPC, as it were, then. So a lot of people were not encouraged because you could go in there and find nothing, and all the money you've spent in exploration is gone. I'm a geologist, and I know exploration can be very expensive. Would you say that GeoScan offers a better and more economically viable alternative to the previous methods or technologies you've known?
There is no doubt The GeoScan technology is a quantum leap as compared to the traditional methods. At the end of the day, they complement each other and they get you to the same destination. But the methodology that is applied, first of all, will save you time, and ultimately, it will save you money.
So in one word, it is efficient.
Absolutely, there's no doubt about that. It will cut out most of the speculative aspects of exploration, because, like he said, you scan an area, and instead of wildcatting, taking 1,000 samples, GeoScan can point you to the precise locations where you'll end up probably taking only 100 samples to satisfy your curiosity and your investors, if any, with the decision to proceed to the next step in the exploration process.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was nice talking to Mr. Nasiru Wada, the chairman, Eso Terra, and Magajin Garin Kano. Thank you so much, and it was also good speaking with Mr. Eichhorn. Thank you so much.